Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill on a Wednesday from Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I'm Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Sunshine Quality Solutions bringing you the opening hour here on a Wednesday. Mr. Hill, how we doing?
Doing okay, dreading another Laker basketball game, but I think we'll get through it. I'm
off the Lakers. I don't. I've made enough fun for a week. You know, if something funny happens, we may bring it up. We got a lot to get to here over the next 2 hours. JD PicKell of On 3 Sports in his usual Wednesday spot. 15 minutes from right now, we'll talk about all things national and college football. We'll probably touch on the A&M Aggies there, as well as how the Tigers are playing and what kind of shot he gives LSU against Alabama next week. Got some injury results from Brian Kelly on the SEC Coaches Teleconference. We'll get to that at the end of hour number one. LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson going to join us 1 hour from right now at straight up 2 o'clock. Jay will join us. We'll talk about his team in the fall, what he's seen from some of his guys, how some injuries are progressing. A lot to get to with Jay at 2 o'clock. And, of course, at 2:30, our SEC Power Rankings coming at you. Probably a big shakeup, I would imagine, after what we saw last weekend. We'll start, again, kind of talking about the bye week. Jeremy, you've gone through a couple of these as a college player and a lot of them as an NFL player. Obviously, they're two very, very different situations. But you did go through the exact situation, really, that this group is going with. When you look back at 2012, you look back at 2013, the teams were not exactly in the spot you thought you would be, but it was still a monstrous game with Alabama coming up in 2 weeks, and that's kind of where we sit right now and not one we anticipated, really, quite honestly. So how much of this bye week for the coaches and players is spent looking at Alabama? How much of it's on, hey, we've been doing this for 2 months, we got to do something a little bit better there?
Yeah, I think it's really up to Coach Kelly. I remember, being with Coach Miles, we would sneak in periods of Alabama like 3 weeks, almost sometimes a month out, and we just do one little Alabama period and work on some stuff just for that 3-4 front that they had. But and then obviously you tune it up a ton more once you got to that bye week and you just focus all on them. So I think for Coach Kelly and the crew, I think giving the same kind of a reset, a refresh. I don't think Coach Miles believed in that too much. It was just pedal to the metal. Once you got rolling, you're putting your feet on the ground and you're taking all. But it seems like Coach Kelly has it in his mind to kind of give this team a reset, give them, let their bodies, freshen up a little bit, take some time off over the weekend and, really, really hit it hard, next week. But I still think they'll be preparing, for Alabama this week and kind of working on some stuff and getting guys back in this lineup. But, I think it's just two different philosophies when you think about those two head coaches.
First thing out of Brian Kelly's mouth in the teleconference this morning, they asked him to kind of give an intro, and usually it's to the game that's coming up. This one was to the bye week. He said recovery week for us. So that was literally the first thing he said, so I take his word for that. Let's just throw this out there because, and this is something, if you've listened to me on the airwaves here for the last 10 years in one way or another, you know how I feel about this. If you're a little bit new or maybe you've forgotten, here's my thing on this. There was a thought by some people that LSU over the decade of the 2010s made too big a deal of the Alabama game. That it was that all the program ever thought about, and once they lost that game, they couldn't get off the mat, and they lost games after that, and that was a huge knock on Les and the program, and Alabama was just in their head. And my response to that is, what exactly would you have them believe? That it's the exact same as playing Arkansas? Would you? I mean, this is the standard of the program. They're almost always undefeated or with one loss. You have to beat them to win the West and achieve any of your goals. They've got the greatest coach in the history of college football. Game day's there half the time. You got the one SEC primetime game on CBS the entire year. They pick that one. Ryan Russillo and Scott Van Pelt are there. Snoop Dogg's on the sideline. Like Vince Vaughn's there. Like, what would you have them believe that, just another one? It's not. Like, it just, how could you? The kids aren't stupid. They know Bama's ranked first in the nation and undefeated. Like, I'm talking generally speaking throughout that decade. I thought that talking point was so ridiculous. Yeah, it's going to get you jazzed up a little bit more. Yeah. It's not the same as the Buccaneers playing the Colts one week and the Falcons the next week. It's a bigger deal.
Yeah, and I think when you factor in the fact that Coach Saban did coach LSU, did win a national championship, and you do have that storyline of him going to the Crimson Tide and being the head coach and kind of getting that thing back rolling again, I think it's just too many factors to kind of say it's just another game. And you go back to the time in the SEC, Ole Miss really wasn't ever challenging. Mississippi State really wasn't challenging. Arkansas was really never challenging.
Just 1 year here and there for those teams. And I'm not suggesting that LSU was far superior to those teams every single year and was never going to lose to them. That's not the point. The point was, yeah, sometimes you gear really up high for the CBS primetime game where game day is there and you're playing the number one team in the country and you come up a little bit short and then you might lose one. I don't know that it's super preventable. Nick Saban can sit here and tell you that just another opponent, nameless and faceless, we approach every day trying to get better and all. And he may approach it that way. The players aren't because they're 19 and 20 and they know. And the Alabama players know that playing LSU is a far bigger deal than playing UT Martin.
And that's something that I've really, especially coming to Baton Rouge, I've yet to see a sleepy Alabama team coming to Tiger Stadium. You're like, what are they doing out here? Because they know exactly what's at stake. And so to kind of preach that message to your football team, like, oh, this is just another opponent. You guys will be fine. Let's just execute, do our stuff. I think you're setting yourself up for failure because this is the last team on the absolute planet that you want to start off sleepy through the first quarter, sleepy through the second quarter, and it's just another game. They're going to run you off the field. And so I think everyone kind of knows what's at stake. Anytime you're playing this Alabama program, you got the SEC title at stake. You got the national championship title at stake. And obviously bragging rights too. I think everyone hates to lose to Alabama, no matter what each team's record are, because it may not seem to be a rivalry now, but just talking to people in Baton Rouge, being around it, being in that rivalry, going to the games, there's not much love between these two programs. And so to just say it's another game, I think you'd be fooling yourself a little bit there.
All right, I may get on that soapbox again next week, but I wanted to pose the question: in this bye week, if there was one thing on offense, one thing on defense that you would hope that the coaching staff and the players may address. I'll start on the offensive line. The key there is health. You saw what happened when Will Campbell was out. Obviously not an injury there, but he couldn't play. Dellinger is working his way back. But I want to make sure those protections are down pat against a Saban defense that's very blitz happy and has some pass rushers that are dudes. Mm-hmm. Will Anderson's statistics are not great this year. Dallas Turner's not been, what maybe we thought he could be. They're still uber talent. So just walkthroughs, going through mental reps, understanding where pressures are going to come from, because if LSU keeps Jaden Daniels upright in that game, I think they can make some plays. Everyone else has against Alabama except Mississippi State, which they've got that offense figured out. But the offensive line to me is the biggest deal offensively in that game. So hopefully a lot of mental reps and just walkthroughs and understanding, okay, we've got Dellinger back in there. Before he went out, Campbell was out. So let's get our communication, make sure we're on the same page. Offensive line would be a point of emphasis for me this week.
Yeah, it's going to be the telltale sign in this game. You kind of saw when JD5's taking that huge leap that we've kind of all been waiting for all season for. He's had time to survey the field, and they've opened up rushing lanes for the backs and for him in the quarterback run game. But I think for me, I think putting a nail on what's stopping this offense from scoring touchdowns early in football games. And I think that's going to be so important in a game like this to keep the crowd in it. Obviously, you don't want to get Bryce Young a multiple score lead and you're constantly chasing after him for 4 quarters of football. I think that's what, if I was Coach Kelly and Brock and the rest of his offensive staff, I'd be preaching to this team just how important it is to come out there early, execute well, and not kill yourself with penalties or obviously drop passes or giving up sacks or whatever it may be. That's kind of L-ing you to start these football games, because if you can kind of get to a start, in this football game and kind of get a lead early on and keep this crowd and this hostile environment in it, I think that's going to exponentially raise your chances of winning this football game.
Defense, I think things are a little more complicated because Bryce Young is so good, and we're going to talk about him a ton next week. But you got your hands full with him and trying to slow down that offense, especially with Gibbs. So for me, if I had one thing that I wanted to kind of see what they could do this week, what are we doing with Perkins? Because when you're going to try to spring an upset on these guys, it may come down to one game-changing play. And if there's one guy on that defense that I think can make a game-changing play, blitzing, coming off the edge, making an athletic interception, running back the other way, spying the quarterback who's trying – Perkins can do so many things. Okay, what's his role for this game? What can we do over the next 3 days, not game planning for an opponent, that help us to to understand where he needs to be and what he needs to be doing, and can we do it with B.J. Ojulari on the field at the same time? Because that's kind of been what I've been kind of told the trade-off is. Sometimes when Perkins is in there, you got to take Ojulari off the field. That's not something you want to do a ton of, but how do we get them both on the field? Because we got to have our best guys out there against them.
Yeah, no, that's going to be huge, especially when you see the way Bryce extends plays the way he can. I'm in the camp of I think you bump inside BJ, then you can run stunts, you can run TE stunts, and you kind of keep all your best pass rushers on the field and kind of do what the Giants did and got after Tom Brady, but just put all your best pass rushers in at one time and say go get them. I think that's a package I would love to see from Matt House. But for me, I think it's going to be getting Major Burns back and stopping big plays deep. You kind of seen this, secondary kind of give those up. If you watch that Ole Miss game, Dart had an easy touchdown that he overthrew Mingo, I should say, and he had a couple plays down the field that it really could have hurt this defense. And we kind of saw, kind of what they've given up in these past few weeks. So I think getting him back in that secondary, especially for a quarterback that can extend plays, and he's not just, looking to extend the run. He's looking to extend and throw the ball down the field. And, that's sometimes where you can kind of give up those big explosive plays. And when you got an Alabama team with a quarterback to that level, that's the last thing you want to give up. You want to make them earn it the hard way, go down the field, sustain really, really long drives, and maybe you get a stop and force a field goal. But when you're giving up those huge chunk plays, it's going to make it very, very difficult to stop this Alabama offense.
Sunshine Quality Solutions, your hometown John Deere dealer serving southern Louisiana and Mississippi. You can find them on Airline Highway, or you can find them at sunequip.com. If you head over to sunequip.com, they've got the new equipment inventory, used equipment, John Deere dealers. They've got your parts, got a service department as well, and they've always got their specials running right there. So check out the website if you're in the market for mowers, tractors, any John Deere products. Sunshine Quality Solutions is your stop. Check out sunequip.com. We will take a time out. J.D. PicKell in his normal Wednesday spot. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Speaking of websites, not in the market for John Deere, maybe for a car. Bayou Ford can help you out with that. Check out the inventory at BayouFord.com. They've got it all there. Maybe you're looking for a Mustang. Maybe you're looking for an F-150, F-250. I've been an Explorer driver my entire driving life, and I love them. My dad's had the same expedition since he picked me up from camp in 2004. So it's been a while. Rusty's had that thing for a long time. Ford products are fantastic. Bayou Ford's your spot to get them.
Yeah, head over to BayouFord.com. They got a new special tab that updates daily. It's complete with a photo of the vehicle, the savings you can score, as well as a video profiling the vehicle and all of its features. Don't see anything you love? That's okay. Keep coming back because these deals will update on the site as Bayou Ford rolls them out. It's all right there at BayouFord.com.
BayouFord.com is the website. Every new purchase gets you a 1,000,000-mile powertrain warranty. You'll have that warranty for the life of the vehicle. Bayou Ford, check out the inventory, BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
Do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. Yeah, we got a lot going on, but Mr. 4-8 himself, Russ Mitchell, returns to AFR. You won't want to miss it. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Brock Kantrow going to be with us in about 30 minutes. Brock is the new interim AD over at Baton Rouge Community College. We're going to talk to him about their hoops opener coming up here next week. But we'll head to the phone lines now, as we do each and every Wednesday. JD PicKell of On 3 Sports joins us. JD, how are you, sir?
Boys, I'm doing phenomenal. How are we doing over there? We got some juice on this Hard Hat Wednesday?
It is. There's a lot of juice in Baton Rouge right now, and quite frankly, I didn't expect that at the end of October. I thought people would be holding on for dear life, but this team has kind of turned it on over the last 2 weeks, especially offensively. What do you make of LSU and their performance in the Swamp and then coming home against a top 10 Ole Miss team?
I mean, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible to have the offense score 45 points each of the last 2 games. It feels like it was kind of what we were eventually hoping for from LSU. Maybe you'd get it next year. Maybe you'd get kind of the offense humming once there was some more continuity on the offensive line. And, I mean, for it to click at this point, like you mentioned, at the end of October, I mean, I think Tiger fans should be ecstatic, and I'm sure they are. So, for me now, I'm thinking, okay, what can we do in the West? Like, is this who our offense is going forward? Because if it is, we got a whole lot of games on our schedule left, and including Alabama. If we catch them on the right day and we bring our A game, like that game is a lot more winnable than we thought it was a few weeks ago. So for LSU, I think you got to be super encouraged. And then looking back at the defense, Matt House deserves, I mean, the key to the city for the job he's done with that defense and the way they've adjusted at halftime. And, I mean, you look at multiple games, whether it was Mississippi State or Auburn or Ole Miss this past weekend. I mean, they have just shut the water off on teams and allowed that offense to get rolling. So a lot of good things going on in Baton Rouge right now, as I'm sure y'all could attest to.
How much LSU just kind of turning it on there, and how much did maybe Ole Miss's lack of being tested alter our opinion of that football team?
Yeah, I think some of it probably is a little bit of both, but I probably give more credit to LSU than I do Ole Miss because, as y'all well remember, Ole Miss was up in that game. Like, it felt like, okay, maybe Ole Miss is who we thought they were. I mean, maybe they are kind of that program, and they're going to be able to run the ball at will, and they got Judkins and Evans, and Dart's going to play well. And, I think a lot of it goes to LSU kind of finding it in, the second half of that game and going on, I guess it was 42-3. Is that what it was, that kind of run they threw down there? I think a lot of it goes credit to LSU. So, I mean, Ole Miss got some good players, and I know they did a lot with their scheme, trying to just run the football and being able to get the stops they did and being able to answer with offense. I think you got to be really, really excited about where this program's headed.
What'd you think about the play of Jackson Dart? I thought he had some opportunities to make some big-time throws on the field, put the ball in harm's way a little bit that could have possibly had more interceptions on that stat sheet. All in all, in that LSU game, what do you make of his play?
Yeah, I feel like he is a guy that is going to get better as he gets more comfortable in the system. Like, I don't necessarily doubt the talent and ability of Jackson Dart. It feels like he's driving a car that he doesn't have a great gauge for just yet. Like, we've seen what he can do when he was at USC, and we've seen flashes of it this year when he's been able to, deliver the ball downfield and look comfortable. But to the to your point, there was also a fair amount of plays where he wasn't comfortable. Like, I think he got hurried somewhere in the range of close to double digits. I think it was somewhere around 8 or 9 times. So he was never really sitting back there in a super clean pocket. And even when he was, I'm sure you're probably seeing ghosts, and one of those ghosts being named Harold Perkins, who is an absolute freak show on the edge for them. So I think a lot of it probably has to do with the way that LSU played him and just the inexperience for him right now in that system. So I think he'll probably be a guy that if he wins the job again next year, we'll see improvement. But yeah, I think to your point, didn't do nearly enough to get the job done that day when LSU kind of turned off the run game.
All right, take this any way you want to. Texas A&M, what do you got?
God, I mean, we keep getting these questions. I'm like, we could go for a full hour here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know which direction to take. I think there's probably, if you had the bullet point, I think there's a couple of things. One, Jimbo needs to somehow, some way adapt. And I know people want to talk about the offense and update it, and I think a lot of that is like fan speak, like you don't see enough points, and so you say the offense is outdated. And I'm saying, okay, we're not out here running 3 fullbacks. Like, we don't have the wishbone out here. Like, what about this is so outdated? I do think they need to get the ball to their best players. You saw South Carolina do that really effectively. So Jimbo needs to find a way to adapt in order to survive. Like, all the great coaches have done that. The second piece I would say is there is a lot of talk about just the internal stuff going on right now in College Station. And, I mean, that in itself, too, points back to your coaching staff and what you allow to happen and, you know, the recruiting that you do in terms of what you allow in-house. And so, I mean, I don't want to speculate too much, but it sounds like there's going to be some sort of portal action, I would imagine, when that thing opens up in College Station. And I'm just fascinated to see what the repercussions of this whole thing are in terms of how many guys they lose or whatever it may be. So bottom line, that's my feel on it. I'm not, an insider getting super, factual information from anybody, but that's my feel on it, that they have internal problems and Jimbo needs to adapt.
Now, I poke fun at A&M a lot here, but I also Texas Ag just does a really good job keeping their ear to that program. They are as close to that program as anyone is to any program, and I'm listening to some of the guys over there. They've got 2 5-stars who are suspended indefinitely for whatever it is that they did, speculation running rampant. You had another 5-star that didn't show up for practice yesterday. It sounds like that there could be guys. It feels like it might be some sort of tidal wave here that eventually you can't fix. Does it feel that way?
Oh, it definitely feels that way. It feels like you built up a really solid floor that you thought was solid, at least with recruiting, and now it's just having holes poked in it left and right, and it's not nearly as sturdy as you thought it was. And I mean, to your point with the whole rumor about what may or may not have gone on in that locker room, for that to even be a conversation, like for that to even be speculated, to even be a rumored headline. Like, think of other elite programs that just would never allow that to happen. Like, you think Nick Saban's letting it happen in his locker room before a game? You think Dabo Swinney's letting it happen in his locker room before a game? Like, no, because those coaches are so respected and so honestly feared, like they are the law. And so for that to be just blatantly, potentially at least, disregarded, I think it says a lot about where that program's at right now. And this isn't the first time either that we've had to talk about the freshman class of Texas A&M. Remember before the Miami game, they had 3 dudes, I believe, that were suspended because of some sort of violation of team rules. So there's a very, very big disconnect between what is and isn't allowed, it seems like, under the Jimbo Fisher watchful eye.
JD PicKell of On 3 Sports, host of the Hard Count on YouTube, joins us here every single Wednesday on Hunt and Hill. All right, let's go to that matchup then. We just talked about those 2 teams. Ole Miss coming off their first loss, A&M trying to find itself. It is in Kyle Field. What do you make of that matchup?
I think if A&M is going to win that game, you would need a different quarterback. So I don't know what the update is on Haynes King. Do we know about his health? Is there anything coming out of College Station with his status that y'all know of?
No, he's just banged up, and I think the inclination is that he's not going to be healthy. It's just a matter of whether or not they're going to put him out there.
Sure. And I mean, for me, if I'm Texas A&M, I'm like, what do we have to lose playing Connor Wegman? Yeah. Like, at this point, we're not playing for a New Year's Six Bowl. We're not playing for the SEC title. So back to the game at hand, if you could get Connor Wegman some reps, and not to knock Haynes King, but like you don't have a whole lot worse you can do as an offense in terms of what they're doing. I mean, averaging 19 points a game. So I think I would need something big from Connor Wegman, and you would need this defense to start playing how we were talking about them potentially playing when this whole year started. So with that being said, I like Ole Miss. I like the way they're trending. Lane Kiffin is just a walking storyline. He's absolutely hilarious. I think like an hour ago, he just had the whole quote about being outbid and that being a common theme when it comes to A&M. And I'm just like, this college football is the best. So I like Ole Miss in that game. I think they're just more sturdy as a program and schematically.
I think everyone going into the season pretty much had Georgia at the top of the SEC East, but a lot of people were feeling the Kentucky wave. What chances did you give them to go to Neyland and try to upset Tennessee?
I think they will have a better chance than a lot of people perceive. Talk to some people close to that program, and there's like a quiet confidence, a quiet optimism building around that Kentucky program for what they can do in Neyland Stadium. In terms of a spot, you couldn't ask for anything better if you're Kentucky, with Tennessee going to Athens next week, and you wonder, is there any look ahead? And Tennessee's saying all the right things. I don't think there will be a look ahead, but just the potential of it probably helps you. My concern is just what can Kentucky do offensively, because that front seven for Tennessee is really good, and I'm just fascinated to watch this matchup between Tennessee secondary, who's been really, really bad, and the Kentucky receiving core with Dane Key and Tavion Robinson and all those guys, and Will Levis obviously being, a projected first rounder. Can they capitalize on that? Because if there's a matchup you like, if you're Kentucky, that's the one that you're thinking, okay, we don't have 22 matchups we like, but we have these 2 or 3 on the outside that we think we can win with. So if that can be effective for them, this thing could get really interesting. Now on the flip side of that, if Tennessee can go NASCAR and get up 10, get up 14, Kentucky's averaging 25 points a game. They're just not built to come back from that kind of deficit. So the first quarter, if Kentucky can eat a punch, I think is going to be really, really interesting. And I give Kentucky actually a better chance than probably the public does, but nonetheless think Tennessee wins that game and maybe ends up pulling away late.
No question here about what Clemson has accomplished over the last decade. I'm just talking about this team specifically. Quarterback situation, what we've seen from them the first 2 months. They've got 4 games left. They're going to be significant favorites in all of them. But do you believe this to be a significant national championship contender right now?
Gosh, that's a really great phrasing for the way that you asked that. If they're a national championship contender. Are they a college football playoff contender? 100%.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time imagining that they go toe-to-toe with the team. Forget Georgia, forget Alabama, a team like Tennessee, who's probably going to be, potentially kind of like that fringe team that we talk about right now, that have a chance to play Georgia and all that. But Tennessee, a team that we're talking about, can they maybe get in? And we're talking about Clemson running the table and getting in. If Clemson and Tennessee play tomorrow, I think a majority of the public would be on Tennessee to win that game outright. And so with that being said, I don't think Clemson right now is a team that's probably going to be a national title contender. But I will say this about Dabo Swinney. Every year it feels like these Clemson teams just continue to trend upward, with the exception of last year, I guess, for the most part, and maybe even including last year. Their best football seems to always be played in November and peak at the right time. So I wouldn't be wildly surprised if we are talking about this Clemson team in a different light about, hey, they've kind of turned it on here and it's, November 15th and they're playing some of their best ball. Dabo did it again. That could be a situation for us. But as of today, October 26th or whatever it is, don't believe necessarily that this is a college football title contender.
He is J.D. PicKell, host of the Hard Count on On3's YouTube channel. He joins us every Wednesday in the 1 o'clock hour. Thanks, J.D.
Appreciate y'all. Have a great college football Saturday.
We sure will. He is at J.D. PicKell on Twitter, PICKELL. I want to expound upon the end of that interview right there in our next segment before we get to Brock Kantrow at the end of the hour. How many teams are national championship contenders? We'll tell you what we think next on Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
One Bath and Closets, tell you about them each and every day, onebathandclosets.com. You don't have to move to improve your bathroom situation, your closet situation. David Duvall and his crew have been in the business for 3 decades. They start their process with a questionnaire. What do you have? What do you need room for? What do you want it to look like? Sometimes the men have to leave the room when the ladies get asked, how many pairs of shoes do you have? But they're going to get the information, and they're going to put together a custom solution for you, bathrooms or closets. In fact, you tell them that we sent you at Hunt and Hill over there to do a closet renovation or a remodel, 30% off with David Duvall and his crew. 30% off. And look, some of the stuff they do, it's not going to take 3 months. They got a tub to shower conversion. If you just got a tub there, you don't ever use it, and you like a gorgeous glass shower, They can do that for you. Take that tub right out, use that space, the exact same space you had, and put in a gorgeous new shower. They promise they're not going to take any shortcuts. They're simply not going to have to come back 3 weeks later to fix something that went wrong. That's not the way they operate at One Bath & Closets. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. One Bath & Closets. Find them at onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Shop, Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shop a style.
Oh, yeah! Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers.
College football doubleheader this Saturday. First, the #1 Georgia Bulldogs face the Florida Gators in their annual rivalry at 2:30 p.m.
Then the Texas A&M Aggies host the Ole Miss Rebels at 6:30 p.m.
It's all right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks to JD PicKell for hanging out with us as he does each and every Wednesday here on Hunt and Hill. Opening hour brought to you by Sunshine Quality Solutions. Going to have Brock Kantrow on in about 10 minutes to talk about BRCC. Opening their basketball season next week. Brock's the AD over there. Going to chat with him at the end of the hour. Looking forward to that. Always enjoy our chats with Brock. He's been in the community a long time, loves his basketball. We just talked to JD about the fact, just asked him, hey, do you think Clemson's a national championship contender? And he kind of pushed back and goes, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of in that boat too. They just haven't looked consistent. You're benching your quarterback game in and game out. Klubnik's having to come in. He's been in there twice, once for an injury, once because DJ just wasn't playing very well. Yeah, the defensive front is good. I like the defensive front, but I just don't see this as one of those title Clemson teams. I think they're flawed. I don't love giving up 45 points to Wake Forest, quite frankly. And I don't see them as a national championship contender, personally.
Yeah, I think the perfect thing to put on Clemson is a college football playoff. You can probably, be safe with that. But, when you run into some of the teams that's going to make it to the playoff, I don't know if you love that matchup if you're a Clemson Tiger fan, especially when you kind of look at their struggling quarterback play. Their rush defense is one of the top in the country. But, kind of look at who they're playing against. That's kind of where I go. When you kind of do that deep dive and some of the rushing attacks that they're playing against, it's probably not the best we've seen in this country. But anytime you have a former Dr. Pepper commercial quarterback who's just really not playing great football, it's just not what you want to see. And when you got to have a freshman come in there and deliver you from evil, I'm sure that's not what Dabo had in his plans entering this season. So yeah, I would have to agree that Clemson, if they do make the college football playoff, it's not one of those Trevor Lawrence teams where it's just NFL players stacked from top to bottom on that offense and defense. I think that talent level just isn't there for this Clemson roster.
This more so would resemble Jameis' sophomore year team that went undefeated, and everybody knew they weren't good because they struggled through the ACC week in, week out, had their issues, and then they went out west and Mariota and company blasted them. And that happens in the ACC, and it's why I think it's awesome, because just give me a chance. If I can run the table in this trash conference, I got an opportunity. Maybe I'll get 4 turnovers in the semifinal. And, obviously if you've gone undefeated, you have some good players. Jameis Winston's obviously a good player, and Clemson's got some good players, but I think this is a product of their schedule. So for right now, no Clemson for me. I'll give you the teams I think can have a legitimate chance to win the national championship. Of course, I'm on board with Georgia. I absolutely think they can win the national championship. Yeah. I believe that Ohio State can win the national championship. That offense looks great. And we'll see what they've got over the next 4 weeks here with Penn State and Happy Valley. Tough environment. They're a much better team. They should win it, and then we'll see what they can do trying to avenge Michigan, which doesn't happen very often. I absolutely think Tennessee can win the national championship. I think there are probably some people out there that don't believe that because their defense, and especially in the secondary, has been awful. They just got to go score 50. And if they can do it on Alabama, they can probably do it on a lot of other people too. Would I bet on them to win the national championship? Probably not, but I think they absolutely can win it. I think Michigan can win it. Mm-hmm. They're physical, they're mean, they run the ball, and their quarterback's not really screwing up. Now, does not screwing up do enough to beat C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or Hendon Hooker? Maybe not, but if they're mean and physical and can slow the game down, I think they can do it. I think Alabama can win the national championship because I think Bryce Young is that good, and that's where my list stops. TCU's offense looks great. But TCU, in my opinion, would show up like Washington did, like Michigan State did, and like Cincinnati did, and went, oh, we really don't have enough good players to be in this game.
Yeah, I'm not sold on any team from the Big 12 right now. I just don't see that avenue for any of those teams, whether a one-loss team, kind of wins the Big 12, or TCU runs the table and goes undefeated. I don't really love that. I think it's kind of what we talk about every year. You kind of got your normal culprits that are always in it, and then I guess this year you're throwing in that outlier, and that's Tennessee, who I think a lot of people didn't predict, to be running the table like they are now. But, yeah, I have to agree with you. Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Tennessee, and after that, man, I guess Michigan too. But it's just hard to really make that case for anyone else. So maybe there's 5 teams. That
Oregon, USC, UCLA?
No Pac-12 team.
Got
Big
a little
12 team.
Scarred by that Georgia performance by Bo Nix and company. They're playing better than they were.
Yeah, they're playing better, but we kind of saw that first performance against a real team and just how badly that went for them. It's like least score. Can I get 10 points? Can I get 17 on the board?
You trust Caleb Williams to go try to score? I mean, again, what if they got Tennessee? If they won out and they got in and they got Tennessee in the first round, whose pass defense has been surrendering a lot to everybody except LSU, and you let Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley have a month to get ready for that.
Yeah, that's just one game. You got to go win 2 of them. You're probably going to play Ohio State, Georgia, or one of these teams, and I just don't love a USC against any of those teams, especially when you're letting that Utah offense just light you up for 40+. I just don't see it in any Pac-12 team, in any Big 12 team. I don't see it in throw the ACC, since we already talked about Clemson. I don't think any team from that conference either. So it's kind of looking like the 2 super conferences we always talk about, Big 10, SEC, a lot of flavor there. And outside of that, it's just I don't see that avenue for any of these other programs.
I think my Michigan discussion gets a little bit more interesting this week, not with Michigan's opponent, with Georgia's opponent. Because if Florida, with their offensive line back healthy off a bye, with Osiris Torrance back in the game, and 2 healthy backs and a dynamic quarterback that can hurt you, if they can run the ball on Georgia, that to me says, okay, I know Michigan tried to play bully ball against the bully last year in the semifinal game against Georgia, and they couldn't move it. They just simply weren't good enough. But all that Georgia defense is gone, except for like 3 guys. So if Florida can run it on Georgia, then that gives me a little hope that maybe Michigan can run it on Georgia. So, again, that's a hypothetical matchup, but if I'm looking at teams you got to play, Michigan's the one in this group that isn't going to go try to score 50. They may try to run it for 400, but they're not going to try to go score 50, and they're the one that is probably the toughest to add in. Nobody's really going to argue with Georgia or Ohio State or Alabama, and I don't think a lot of people are arguing about Tennessee right now, but look, they're giving up a lot of points, so that is true. Michigan's the tougher one to throw in because they don't play this modern style. So I'm just trying to see, hey, if Florida can line up and run it on Georgia, which I don't think they can, then maybe Michigan can.
Yeah, I think Michigan is just a totally different built team than what you kind of see from Florida. They got a running back that's almost, he's probably going to clip 1,000 yards already this upcoming week in rushing yards. And so I think when you kind of look at the Florida running game, especially their backs, they don't really have that avenue. So it's probably going to be a lot of Richardson, pulling the ball and, using the plays and extending plays if they're going to attack that Georgia defense, running it. I mean, I saw them trying to run the ball against LSU in the interior. Didn't go too well for them. It was a lot of Richardson, so I just don't see that avenue, especially with a Georgia team where they're getting close to where they know they're going to do something special this year and represent the East in the SEC Championship, win that big-time game against Tennessee at home. So I don't see that for them. But I think for Michigan, anytime you got a powerhouse football team that's coming at you downhill, which a lot of these defenses don't see week in and week out. They're used to dealing with these spread offenses, dealing with a little inside zone, not really dealing with teams running the ball from the I formation. I think that's that avenue for them where they can shock some people. And you saw them do that last year against Ohio State where, Ohio State just really wasn't ready to slow that run game down. They took full advantage of it.
Citizens Bank poll question of the day. Can Michigan win a national championship playing their current style of football? Yes, no. That'll be it for your Citizens Bank poll question of the day. So really, at this point, we feel like it's cooked down to about 5 or 6 teams. Not buying TCU, not buying Oregon, Oklahoma State, not really buying USC, Wake, UCLA, Penn State, any of those one-loss teams, certainly not Ole Miss. I guess I can toss LSU in the mix. You want to say they can win it?
I'm going to need some losses. We're going to see some 2007 magic for that to happen. But, hey, we've seen crazy. I mean, 2007 did happen. It's not
You can take care of Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee in 2 games because you got to take you beat Alabama and knock them out, and then you go to the East winner and beat them to win the conference. So at that point, you've knocked 3 of the teams out that we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean.
You haven't knocked them out, but you've put yourself ahead of them.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see Michigan going to take, or Ohio State's going to have to take a loss. I mean, that's inevitable. Yep. They're going to play each other. More I think about it, it's not the craziest thing you've ever heard.
We got Hilly on board with the Tigers winning the Natty. How about that on a Wednesday?
It's possible. It's not impossible.
All right, we'll go ahead and leave that discussion right there. We'll take a timeout, close out hour number 1 with Brock Kantrow from BRCC. Reminder, Jay Johnson, LSU baseball coach, going to be with us at straight up 2 o'clock. Opening hour here on a Wednesday, brought to you by Sunshine Quality Solutions, your local John Deere dealer over on Airline Highway. Come back with Brock Kantrow next.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Reliable Roofing and Construction, Reliable Roofing LLC on Instagram, ReliableRoofingBR.com on the internet. So many great pictures of all the work they've done right here in the Baton Rouge area.
Yeah, so happy to tell you guys about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They've been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
Call in the next couple of days, $1,000 off, $1,000 off of your roof replacement if you do it this month for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Lionel Hayes and his team doing what they can to give back. If you're looking to have your homeowner's insurance replaced because your carrier's moving out of the state, they don't want any part of Louisiana anymore, and the carriers that are coming on aren't comfortable with the wear and tear on your roof, let Reliable Roofing and Construction come in. They'll give you an inspection. They'll give you a repair, or in the event that you need a full roof replacement, they can do that as well. Every single job they perform, 5-year labor warranty over there at Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check out the website, ReliableRoofingBR.com.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
When I was a boy, I spent my days climbing trees, catching fish. Barefoot in the river I walked, listening to crickets, counting stars. This was home. After my stroke, I wondered if I'd make it back to the people and places I love. But I got the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Your card matters. Your home does too.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Join the handyman. He's subbing in for me on the Wednesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers from Finbomb, Sushi Burrito, Poke Ramen on Burbank at Lee, right next to Rouse's. Game Time presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Opening hour brought to you by Sunshine Quality Solutions. Find them at sunequip.com. Looking for your John Deere products or your repair, your parts, sunequip.com. You can also find them over on Airline Highway. Going to be a fun basketball season down here in South Louisiana. The Pels are off to a really good start. Great win last night by them, very shorthanded. Matt McMahon era getting cranked up here this season over at LSU. We'll have him on tomorrow. Kim Mulkey's pulling in recruits left and right. That's not all the basketball down here in South Louisiana. The Baton Rouge Community College opening things up next week. Brock Kantrow, their AD, joins us now. Brock, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Hunt. How are you guys?
Doing really well. Y'all cranked things up. The Bears on Tuesday got a doubleheader, men's and women's, cranking up at 5:30. Sonic night is what I'm told.
Hey, you know it. Sonic's right down the road, and so if you like a good cherry limeade, you got the right place.
Absolutely. First 500 guests are going to get a Sonic card right there at the Bears home opener. Look, I know that taking people to sporting events can be pretty costly. Looking to do it really cost effectively and get really up close to a really good product. You can do that over at BRCC.
It's awesome, Hunt. I mean, this has been one of the best kept secrets in Baton Rouge for a long time, and it's going to be a secret no more. I mean, parking is, you're walking maybe 20 feet to get into the gym. The gym is gorgeous. It's only $10 to get in. Kids and under five are free. Concession stands aren't $10 for a Coke. I mean, it is a really easy outing that I think the community has been missing out on for the past couple of years, and we're trying to get them back engaged in it this year.
For someone like myself who hasn't been to a BRCC basketball game, what should someone expect going into that atmosphere?
This year you should expect, I got two very young teams. And you guys know that, JUCO Community College is a different level of talent than at the other levels. It's kind of in between a high school game and a Division I game. But what you'll find is these kids just play hard. I mean, they're easy to root for because the kids that are here just want to be here. I mean, they're trying to get to the next level, and they're working hard every day in the classroom and on the floor. So it's a refreshing kind of atmosphere to be around these kids. There's zero entitlement. You will find they're just so easy to pull for.
Baton Rouge Community College against Bishop State Community College Tuesday at BRCC. The women will tip it at 5:30, men at 7:30. So you can catch a doubleheader over there at the Bears Gym. And tell us a little bit about the team, Brock.
It's like I said earlier, the men's and women's teams are both a little bit young. The women's team won it all last year. My women's coach, Paula Lee, was coach of the year. She graduated everybody basically, but she's bringing in her first team all-conference defender, Elena Donaldson, is returning. The men's team, is young as well. We got 3 players, at least 6'6", 3 6'8", and we got a 7-footer who I love. His name is Ethan Wisdom. He's a 4.0 nursing student here. That's what I'm talking about. When you talk about kids are easy to pull for, this kid's a nursing student and has a 4.0 in nursing and is playing basketball at BRCC. It's just a refreshing way to be around basketball.
A 7-footer as a nurse. I'm married to a nurse. She's not 7 feet tall, and I don't think she can dribble, but that is an impressive young man. And that's what you were talking about when you think about the junior college level. These are players, both men and women, they're playing because they love the sport and they just want to play. We're talking about all these guys and all the issues they're having across college football. That's not the case when you're watching these guys and girls play.
It's a whole different ball game, and it gives you pause and it reminds you that there is some good out there, and that people still love this game just for the game. They are trying to get to the next level. They would love to play at the Division I level, but if they don't, they walk out here with a degree, or they hadn't spent a whole lot of money and they're going to college in a 4-year college and can graduate and go get a job. And to me, my history. I've coached Division I basketball for 18 years, and this is just a whole different ball game. When I tell you I come to work happy every day to be around these kids, I got nobody's calling me at night from the sheriff's department. I got no NIL issues I got to deal with. I mean, I just got good kids that want to play basketball and represent Baton Rouge.
Tuesday night, women at 5:30, men at 7:30. The SGA is going to be out there giving out BRCC swag during the game, and the first 500 people in get a Sonic gift card at the games. Brock, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, what do we think about the Matt McMahon era cranking up here in Baton Rouge?
I'm super excited. I got a chance to visit with him when we did the Hometown Heroes clinic 2 months ago. He came and spent some time with us. Very engaging, understands the community. He's out there in the community. The kid, I think he's talented, man. I think I think it's a great hire. I think he knows what he's doing. He understands basketball, and to be a basketball coach in today's world, you have to be somewhat analytical. It's not just you can't be just a rah-rah recruiter and not to say Dale Brown couldn't do this, but it's just a different type of person that needs to lead these organizations. It's more business oriented, and I think he's got that figured out.
Brock is the AD over there at BRCC. We appreciate your time. We'll see you out there, Brock. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Jeremy.
No problem.
He is Brock Kantrow, the AD over there at BRCC. I got a little bit of taste of this with the Rougarou over the summer that Ronnie Rance had, the baseball team. And look, I love going to watch LSU play baseball and basketball and football. I love going down and watching the Saints game and going to see the Pels. But there is something about going to a smaller environment where you're up close. It's not very expensive to get in there, and just watching the game, especially if you've got a youngster, you don't feel like dealing all day with traffic and the production that is these huge big-time games. I loved going out there in the summer to watch the Rougarou play for an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, just out there enjoying the evening, and you can do that in a great gym over there at BRCC. So is it for everybody? Probably not. Is it for me? The purity of sport? Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's hard to pass up on some free Sonic and watch some college hoops, especially when you get a 7-foot nurse out there that you get to check out. I don't know how many more times you're going to get to see that at the college level, but I think for so many of these kids, what you've seen right here at LSU, a lot of guys got some Northwestern kids. You never know the opportunity you're going to get, and if some of these kids play well, I'm pretty sure they can find a way to get a chance at the higher level.
I want to remind you that Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo and Hancock Whitney present this year's Boo at the Zoo. Boo at the Zoo is open now through Sunday, October the 30th. That's, of course, this coming Sunday. Halloween costumes are encouraged for all guests, and every child 12 and under is going to get a mini pumpkin courtesy of Capital City Produce. Get your tickets online and enjoy a special line for all pre-purchased ticket holders at brzoo.org. Been a fun, fast-moving first hour here on a Wednesday edition of Hunt and Hill. First hour always brought to you by Sunshine Quality Solutions, your local John Deere dealer. You can find them on Airline Highway or at sunequip.com. They've got your tractors, they've got your mowers, all your John Deere products, or if you're just looking for parts or service, they can help you with that as well. Again, Airline Highway or sunequip.com. The first hour, if you missed it, you can catch it on demand, 1045 ESPN.com's on-demand tab. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Anywhere you find your audio, you can find us there. We open things up talking about what we would do during this bye week as LSU prepares for Alabama and tries to heal up for that big one next week. JD PicKell, always great from On 3, part of the Hard Count on their YouTube channel. Danced around the Southeastern Conference, little bit of national talk. How many teams can win the national championship in football? Jeremy and I gave our thoughts in the middle of the first hour, and Brock Kantrow we just had talking BRCC. Second hour, SEC power rankings are coming. Where are the Ags? Where are the Tigers? Things have shaken up a little bit there. Saints and Raiders preview will start there at 2:15. But at 2 o'clock to open up hour number 2, LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson going to jump aboard. Very much looking for that conversation with the head man of the Tigers. Come back with us after Sports Center. It's Hunt and Hill.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Rivalry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at rivalryteam.com. Rivalry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Saying he's ready to roll, Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson today told reporters he intends to return from a hamstring injury and play against the Jaguars in London on Sunday. Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott's status for Sunday's game against the Bears uncertain because of a sprained right knee. He did not practice today. Buccaneers will be without 4 starters against the Ravens tomorrow night, including receiver Russell Gage, tight end Cam Brate, and quarterback Carlton Davis. NBA, the Lakers return to the court tonight, will try to pick up their first win of the season when they take on the Nuggets. There's one big reason LA's 0-3, notes First Take host Stephen A. Smith.
When you look at this squad, they don't work. In an age where shooting is required, they can't shoot. Their best shooter is a guy in his 20th season, okay, that's destined for the Hall of Fame, and LeBron James. That's their best shooter.
Lakers Nuggets 10 Eastern on ESPN TV. Baseball, righty Aaron Nola will start for the Phillies in Game 1 of the World Series against the Astros Friday. Zach Wheeler on Saturday for the Phils. You can catch every pitch of the World Series on ESPN Radio.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
The Patriots have been setting Mac Jones up to fail with the way they're handling this whole situation. And now all of a sudden, because things get a little bit challenging, now there's a quarterback controversy.
More from TJ and Max Thursday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 on a Wednesday. Half the work week in the rear view mirror. Hope your Wednesday is going well. We'll head out to the phone lines to crank up hour number 2. Our pleasure now to be joined by the head coach of LSU baseball, Jay Johnson. Coach, really appreciate your time. How much different is fall number 2 for you personally now that you've got a season in your rearview mirror?
Yeah, everything's good. Weather's awesome. Football team's winning. We're working hard over here, so it's all good.
You're digging the football. Ran into you on Saturday. You're like, are we going to win this game? I'm like, I don't know. And you kind of had a hunch we might.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun to watch Coach Kelly and their staff work and improve the team. I've got a chance to go out to a couple practices and see how they operate, and really believed it's only a matter of time. And they deserve a lot of credit for the improvements that they're making.
I think there's going to be some improvement to the baseball team coming up this spring, working through it this fall. I want to ask you about a couple of guys. One is Trey Morgan, first of all. We know he was kind of gutting it out as of last year, had the big knee brace on, went out and played for Team USA. What does he look like now that he's halfway through a fall?
Yeah, Trey's having a good fall. He had a good summer. Obviously a great honor for him to make Team USA, and then really went to work after that, added some strength. I think he's put on about 12 to 15 pounds. And then his knee is healthy again, so his ability to run, kind of getting that dynamic back into his game, and is really advanced as a hitter. And I know he's had 2 really good seasons here already, but you can see a difference just in terms of the maturity that bats, the pitch selection, plate discipline, ability to hit mistakes. He's always going to be a great hitter with 2 strikes. So really excited to see what he's doing this fall.
You've added the National Freshman of the Year, second year in a row, this time Tommy White from NC State, now here in Baton Rouge. A lot of DH for him last year. You've played him at third base here in the fall. What have you seen from him defensively? We know the bat's pretty good.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. We've worked hard with our infielders from really day one of school. He's highly motivated to do it, much in the same way Jacob Berry was when he came here, kind of maybe answering that question mark. And he's advanced quickly. I think he's made 1 fielding error in 10 or 11 games, and has shown really good range for his size. He reads hops well, does a good job playing low, has got an excellent throwing arm, and honestly has exceeded expectations to this point.
To me, when you think of this baseball team, it starts with the number one pick in the draft, and that's Dylan Cruz. Talk about his leadership that he brings to this team, and what's it like being around a guy like that every single day?
He's the best. I mean, there's really, in my coaching career, and I've been very fortunate to coach a lot of good players, but it's kind of like Chris Bryant, Dylan Cruz. They're kind of in a class by themselves. And I think what makes Dylan special is you really look at his game, and there's not one point where you go like, ooh, I don't know about that. He's a great defender, turned himself into a great defender in center field. He's an explosive runner on the bases. The power is impressive, and just the at-bats that he takes and squaring up the ball. And I don't know what his final numbers were last year. It was like 350 or something with 25 homers, and it was like the loudest 350 you could possibly hit, most impactful. He's awesome to be around. You mentioned the leadership piece. He's speaking out more, and I think it's great for our young players to see. He leads both an example and by his voice, and that's really positively impacting us right now.
Before we get to some of the new arms, I want to talk about one of the guys who was a big impact on last year's team, but towards the end of the season, Grant Taylor kind of lost the strike zone at times, and it wasn't quite as effective. The stuff's always been really good. I've seen him twice this fall. It looks plenty good, and he's throwing a lot of strikes. What do you envision as a role for Grant moving forward on this team, and what has Coach Johnson done to kind of improve the strike throwing?
Yeah, he's really elevated himself. I think he did a great job for us last year. I think he got maybe a little tired towards the end of the season, but some of those early outings that he had once we got to conference play were huge. I think he threw 4 scoreless against Texas A&M, threw 5, I think, to finish the game, or 5+ at Florida, the big series win, and had some really good performances. Then went out to the Cape Cod this summer, got a chance to start a little bit, kind of refine the strike zone with a couple pitches. I mean, he is going to be right in the thick of this thing to be at the front of it, relative to a starting type pitcher or the highest leverage innings type pitcher. But I don't think there's anything he can't do. I think the strikes have been good. You mentioned Coach Wes Johnson making a positive impact. I think Grant would be able to tell you that he's taken them out with a lot more confidence. But it's 4 pitches for strikes, and with elite type stuff right now. So if you're to ask me maybe who's going to be the biggest wow jump on the team from last year to this year, I think Grant Taylor would be the name I would give you.
That would be exciting. Jay Johnson, our guest here on Hunt and Hill. Paul Skeens, the guy you bring in from Air Force, pitched for Team USA over the summer. Seen him out on the mound a couple of times. What have you noticed from the big right-hander?
He's special too. I mean, the physical talent is unreal. I mean, he looks like a major league starting pitcher just in terms of body and size and presence. He's a very good athlete, moves down the mound well. Secondary stuff has really or exponentially jumped quickly, in working with Coach Wes Johnson. Sliders become a plus pitch. The changeup, I mean, he could throw that blindfolded, turned around backwards and put it where he wants to. And the fastball is really overpowering. It's been up to 99, and now he's throwing all 3 of those for strikes. Has great mound presence, does not get rattled easily. So you really see, the maturity element there help him maybe from being a part of the military academy. And then offensively, it's hitting ability and it's big power. And I'm proud of some of the adjustments he's made here quickly that I think, he'll need to do to handle SEC pitching maybe the way he handled Mountain West Conference pitching. And he's taken to those quickly and has been pretty impressive in the box too. So everything we hoped for and wanted to this point for sure.
Coach, I know you don't win baseball games on paper, but looking at this pitching rotation you're going to have this year compared to last year, talk about some of the versatility you're going to have based on what you had to deal with last season.
Yeah, I don't think it's remotely comparable, and I say that with the greatest respect for what those guys did. I mean, Mikhail Hilliard really stepped up for us last year. I mean, I think we won 9 of the 10 SEC games that he pitched, and that's a big deal. Those guys at the back end of the bullpen, Paul Gervais was amazing for us. Eric Reiselman was great for us. So I'm proud of what those guys did on the mound last year. But in terms of a talent standpoint, you guys mentioned Paul Skeens and Grant Taylor, and then you're talking about Thatcher Hurd, who I think is a potential high-level draft pick, potential high-level weekend starter. Ty Floyd, I think has really made a jump similar to Grant Taylor. And then you're looking, from the left side, you're looking at Riley Cooper and Nate Ackenhausen, Christian Little from the right side. Chase Shores is probably our most freshman now ready type pitcher. I think he's got future Friday starter written all over him. So when you look at options, it's just there's so much more flexibility and so much more strikeout type stuff, and hopefully that takes a little pressure off of our defense, and we do a good job limiting runs.
One of the guys you didn't mention there that we haven't seen quite yet is Jaden Newt. We saw Leah Van with a report a little bit earlier that said that he was coming along and should be getting the ball here very shortly. What are your thoughts on him in the fall, and what are you hoping to get out of him?
Yeah, he's super talented. He had some arm soreness coming off of his high school season that we've just been very careful, working with. He's begun a throwing program this week. May or may not pitch in a game in the fall. I think we'll get him up throwing to some live hitters, but the goal is to hopefully get him turning the corner into 2023 where he's fully healthy and, jumping into that group we just talked about as well. And, but yeah, he's a super talent. Much like Chase Shores, the stuff and the ability is really excellent. Exactly what we're looking for in terms of recruiting pitchers. But, we're going to put these guys' arm health first, and we want to make sure we get them booted up correctly.
Last one here, Coach. Your time very, very much appreciated. Gavin Dugas playing some second base for you a little bit on the infield. He did that early in his LSU career before going out to left field. We know offensively what he was 2 years ago and kind of battled through everything last year. I know he hit 2 home runs on Sunday. What have you seen from him defensively? And you think there's a chance that this guy could be the guy he was 2 years ago coming up in the spring?
Yeah, he's a great kid, as everybody knows around here, and hard worker and, good leader. Sets a good example for the rest of the players. Has some power in the bat. I think he had 2 home runs in the game on Sunday. Offensively, we're just looking for, the consistency and the quality of the at-bats and ability to move the offense and move the ball forward with runners in scoring position and manage the strike zone. All things that are important to being an elite hitter at any level. And then defensively, we're just trying some things out relative to second base and, a little bit of third base to see what kind of lineup flexibility that we can have. It's always nice to know he can go back to the outfield, but he's competing. He's making the routine play. He's got a good, strong throwing arm, which helps in turning the double play. But I think an early surprise or positive surprise is where we're at in terms of the infield with, Jordan Thompson, and Gavin Guidry is a freshman that's really making a real positive impact. We mentioned Tommy White, Ben Napolt. So we feel good about where we're at. Jack Merrifield's had a nice fall so far, so we feel like we're much better shape there as well.
Any chance I can duck out and talk some baseball here in a bye week, I'm going to do it. Coach, we really appreciate your time. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too. That is Jay Johnson, LSU baseball coach. There's just so much depth everywhere. It's terrifying, and the high-end talent is very much there. It is. It's going to be a very, very fun spring here in Baton Rouge. Fun fall here in Baton Rouge. Going to be a nice winter here in Baton Rouge as well, with Matt McMahon and his team getting on the hardwood for the first time in the Matt McMahon era. We're going to talk to Coach McMahon tomorrow as we kind of maneuver this bye week here, but wanted to talk a little baseball. Appreciate Coach Johnson being available for us. 104.5 ESPN is excited to see pro hockey coming back to the Raising Cane's River Center this winter. Tickets start at just $10 for games at Ticketmaster.com and the Raising Cane's River Center box office. Keep listening for your chance to win some from us and sign up to win at 1045ESPN.com. We'll come back. SEC Power Rankings in 15 minutes. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women. Women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis. But I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah! Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar.
Up on Thursdays, OTB. What's the best way to take in a little Halloween bye weekend? Plus, we'll look at all the biggest Week 9 college football games and brand new munchies with Chef Michael Johnson. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks to Jay Johnson, LSU baseball coach, for jumping aboard here to kick off hour number 2. Get to our SEC Power Rankings coming up in 12 minutes. Wanted to talk a little Saints Raiders here in the middle of the week, Jeremy. Obviously, a monster game for the Saints. Eventually, we will not say that anymore if you continue to lose, but it still is right now. That fact just simply remains. This Raiders team has not gotten off to an awesome start, but they have found themselves a little bit lately with the running game. They're third in the NFL in yards per carry. We understand Josh Jacobs is a really talented dude, And one of the stats that stood out to me when checking in on the Raiders and kind of looking at them from a numbers perspective is that, yeah, they're third in the NFL in yards per carry, and they only have 5 20-plus yard runs on the year. They're not ripping off big plays and skewing the stat sheet with 185-yarder. They're just continuing to hammer you for 4, 5, 6 a pop, and that's what's made them a better team. We thought they got Derek Carr, they added Devontae Adams, there's Waller, there's Renfro. Like, they're going to spread it out and throw it all over the place, and they found their identity in the run game a little bit.
Yeah, Jacob is, these past, 4 or 5 weeks, he's probably one of the best backs in football when you factor in the yards he's getting and you factor in the touchdowns. He's playing extremely well, and he's, like you said, he's not one of those running backs that are going to gash you for a 70-yard touchdown and just light the world on fire with his speed. He's a hard-nosed runner. He's got to get those tough yards, and he's got to run his feet. And I thought that's a big factor in why you've kind of seen some of that pressure taken off Derek Carr, and he's not having to deliver you from evil with 50 pass attempts. So I'm sure, when they go into the Saints game, that's going to be, huge on what they want to get accomplished against his Saints defense. They're going to want to get Jacobs going, and then once they get those one-on-one matchups on the outside with Adams, Carr won't be afraid to take those, and kind of you've seen some receivers have some big-time days against the Saints secondary. I think Adams is definitely in line for that, especially if the Saints secondary can't get healthy real fast.
Yeah, I don't know how fast they can get healthy, unfortunately. That's kind of the name of the game to this point. What shocked me is that the Saints are 4th in the NFL in touchdowns scored. And it feels like their offense has done nothing and their defense is not forcing any turnovers. Statistically, the Saints are a little bit of an anomaly to me when I look at where they rank in the league. And I guess this points to being, a poor team. But, like, every stat, they're between, 13 and 21. Like, they're not 29th or 30th in anything but turnovers forced. And turnovers, which I guess that's the biggest point if you keep giving the ball away. But, in terms of, run defense, they're not awful. Pass defense, they haven't been awful. They've run the ball every once in a while. Dalton's got it clicking here and there, throwing the football, not consistently, but it's not like they have these, gross deficiencies that you've got to – I just don't see, what is the thing they do the worst outside of turnovers, which, one, will kill you, and we know that, and two, are not necessarily that predictable. Now, if you got a quarterback that can't stop throwing it to the other team, that is one thing, and Jameis has been that over his time. Dalton hasn't really, but fumbles and not getting fumbles and that kind of stuff is not necessarily predictable. Things like yards from scrimmage and yards per carry and scoring touchdowns, like that stuff is, they haven't been that bad at it. They just lose close games and give the ball away.
Yeah, and you've seen kind of Ingram put it on the turf a little bit. You've seen, Kamara put it on the turf. You've seen Jameis had a really bad turnover game, and just in this Cardinals game, you saw Dalton do that. But I think for the Saints offense, you have seen that rushing attack, really, especially with Kamara in the lineup. They have been able to hand the ball off to him, and he really has gone over 4 a pop and sometimes 5, and that's something that you can really depend on. And you have seen them really have those big-time plays in the passing game, and that's without Michael Thomas in this lineup. You've seen the rookie make some big-time plays. You've seen Olave, who's just having an electric season. They're getting big plays there, so I think that's where you're kind of seeing, that offense really score more points than you think they have. And then, Taysom's in the mix too, and he's throwing for big touchdown passes. He's running for big touchdown passes. So I think that's where you can kind of see, where those, points come from and some of those big plays. So I think for the Saints, all in all, as cliche as it may sound, just cut the turnovers out, especially when you have a defense that's giving up the big plays that they are. You can't keep putting them out there with short fields, and especially when you throw in, pick sixes in the mix, it just makes it virtually impossible to win football games.
Yeah, I mean, I really did try this morning to be like, okay, let's do a dive here and figure out, what is the biggest issue, and it's just they've turned it over too much, and they haven't forced any, and when you give away your possessions and you give additional possessions and you're mediocre across the board, it catches up to you. And I think that's really the point. I mean, yeah, the Carolina loss looks awful, but you had every chance in London to win the game. You were right in the game to start the fourth quarter against Tampa in the opener. I'm sitting there watching the game. You're right in it. And then you give up the one big touchdown pass by Tom, and Jameis throws it to the other team twice, and you don't get it done. You were right there against Cincinnati and had a chance to win the game and couldn't get it figured out. It's not as if they're not close. Not to use a Jimbo Fisherism here, but we're not like they're getting run off the field. They're not getting run off the field. They're just not good enough to overcome the stupid stuff that they do. Yeah. And I can't promise you that they will. I can't promise you they're going to get healthy. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be in 3 weeks. Like, there's a lot I don't know. But I tried to paint this thing as ugly. Like, what is the deal? And none of it looks awful. It's just all mediocre, which is not going to win enough games.
Yeah, and I'm a huge believer in no matter what's kind of taking place, you are what your record shows. And for the Saints, you're 2-5. And normally when you see a 2-5 team on your schedule, we're probably gonna beat those guys. We're probably not gonna have much trouble with those guys. And you've kind of seen them kind of have those bad plays that rear its ugly head. Whether it's them giving up a big touchdown to Jamar down the sideline, you miss 2 tackles and he just trots in the end zone and he's punting the ball into the second row. And then you've kind of seen them when they had success. They've kind of had to rally and do it. So they've really never this whole season been able to put 4 quarters together and really have a great brand of football that you really kind of build off of and build it to the next week. And then you factor in all the injuries that they've had to deal with this season. It's just kind of they are what their record shows, and that's a 2-5 football team.
And the Raiders are what their record shows, but I could have the same conversation when I'm talking about them. They go against the Chargers on the road week 1, you lose a 5-point game. Then you play a home game against the Cardinals, you lose by 6. Then you go on the road to Tennessee, you lose by 2. Then you found a way to beat the hapless Broncos offense and got a win there. Then you went to Arrowhead and played a competitive game, lost by a point. Probably should have won that game, quite frankly. Then you go to Houston and you take care of them because they stink on ice. But you could flip this. You could flip them to 5-2 instead of 2-5. It wouldn't take that much effort.
No, you wouldn't, and that's why the NFL is such a really cool league when you really think about it. Because every Sunday you're just a play away here, a couple plays there, and it can really change the whole complexity of your season. Because when you're playing in so many of these tight games and you have a turnover and you kind of give the game away, you can really look back at your season and realize, man, things could really, really go different for this team. And I think for the Saints, you're scoring so many points against that Cardinals defense. You take out those pick sixes, it's like, man, we could have won that game. You're playing a bad Bucs team, and Jameis turns it over the way he does. It's like you can win that game. And then the Vikings game as well. It's like you get so close to winning that one. You can really
hit the crossbar.
Yeah, you can really kind of look at this Saints season and say, kind of like you said with Jimbo, you're not getting absolutely obliterated Sunday after Sunday. You're in some of these games. You just got to kind of cut these turnovers out and try to get healthy. I think that's kind of the biggest thing for me. It's like they just, for whatever reason, just can't get that full team on the field on any given Sunday. And when you're missing so many guys, you kind of saw the Bengals take full advantage of that when the Falcons didn't have their number 1 guys out there, light you up for 400, and that's kind of what the Saints have been dealing with all year long. You don't have your guys, and it's just forcing you to play with guys who really aren't expected to play that many snaps on any given Sunday.
Not much has gone right for the Saints. We know that, and that makes it a little bit more difficult to get up and go to work, and the environment's just not as good as it is like at LSU right now, where you're feeling good coming off 2 good wins and you think things are trending in the right direction. In that case, does the Saints locker room get a jolt on Friday morning if the Ravens go to Tampa on Thursday Night Football and win? I mean, does that matter to them?
Yeah, it does.
I knew it.
And people always say, like, no outside noise. We don't pay attention. We're just locked into the facility. And, we don't have our cell phones. And we don't watch TV. And we don't know what's going on. It's a load of crap. Like, it's just, exactly what's going on every single week. You know what's going on in your division. You're watching the film every week. And anytime you kind of have, a team in your division, especially a team at the top of the division, they lose. That avenue for you to kind of climb up that ladder and kind of take that spot is there for you. So, yeah, the Saints will be paying attention to what's going on. And if the Bucs somehow find a way to lose this game, the Saints will definitely, have that extra boost to kind of, hey, we're not out of this thing. We can still do it. But even if the Bucs win, they know they're still not mathematically eliminated. So they're going to continue to try to find ways to fight. It's just a matter if they can go out there and execute that.
Saints and Raiders in the Dome on Sunday at noon. When we come back, it's that time of the week, SEC Power Rankings. Jeremy might put LSU at number 1. You can't promise anything. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with promo code 1045 ESPN.
Look, FanDuel's got all your favorite bets, money line, point spreads, player props. You can even combine your bet chances for a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. With live betting, you can get updated odds on games that have already started. You can bet during the game, all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with the promo code 1045ESPN for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issues, no trouble, free bets expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the
in the prep football season, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic Eye in Scotlandville kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Total Occupational Medicine Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, it is that time. We do it each and every week. Go through the Southeastern Conference and rank them 1 through 14. There's going to be some shakeup here. Now, Jeremy's always got huge shakeup. The guy likes to, toss some teams around a little bit, up and down. I'm generally speaking maybe a little more mild-mannered on things. We'll see how things shake out here. I will start with my top 4 here, Jeremy Hill. I've got Tennessee at number 1. I don't have any reason to take them off after the bye week. Only 3-0. They're only 3-0 in SEC play, but they played Bama, LSU, and Florida. In those 3 games against Southeastern Conference teams, they're averaging 548 yards and 43 points. However, Defense, I will admit, is a little bit of an issue. Gave up 569 yards against Bama and 594 against Florida. LSU couldn't take advantage of it. Got stopped on some fourth downs, missed a field goal, muff punts. We get the whole thing. But I trust Hendon Hooker. I trust the offense. I've got Tennessee at 1. I've got Georgia at 2. This is going to be unbelievable next week. Georgia held Oregon to 3, held South Carolina to 7, held Auburn to 10, held Vanderbilt to 0. They're still playing defense over there in Athens. We'll see when the unstoppable force meets the immovable object here next week. That's my 1 and 2. Alabama at 3. Jahmyr Gibbs is averaging 6.9 yards per carry. He is so good. So is Bryce Young. They got issues elsewhere, but those two guys rock. Will Anderson only got 1 sack in his last 3 games. Just hasn't been a huge impact guy statistically over the last month here. We know how good he is. Eventually that's going to happen. Hopefully it's not here next week, but I've got them at 3. And number 4, I've got your Fighting Tigers of LSU. I think LSU as low as 11 on this list. They are now up to 4 in my power rankings.
For the first time in Hutton Hill history, power rankings, I think we're fairly similar. Lockstep right now. Of course, I got 10 as well. To me, highest just lighting the world on fire.
Yeah.
You go for 200 plus on Alabama, then you follow it out. No, it's just UT Martin, but you still go for 174 the following week. He's putting up a Biletnikoff type season, and normally those guys have a quarterback slinging, and then Hooker's just you can't draw a better quarterback play than what he's doing all year. And so, yeah, I think for me, I'm still keeping Tennessee at 1 with what they've done, and that powerful offense, scored 35 plus in every single game. It's just absolutely incredible. So, yeah, I got Tennessee at 1. Georgia, I got 2. My boy Stetson Bennett showing those legs off, man, and then kind of, hit you up on that last bet, shutting out the doors, 55-0. So I don't think anyone could have predicted
why would
that.
I take Vanderbilt? Why would you bet Vanderbilt against Georgia? How many was I catching? 44
yeah, like 39
or
something crazy. Yeah, like 40, literally 40. But yeah, Georgia, that defense is as advertised, and they play well, and that's something that Kirby's going to bring in Saturday after Saturday. So yeah, I got Georgia at 2. Alabama at 3. A lot of chinks in that armor this year. Not the Alabama teams we've seen of old, but anytime you trot the Heisman winner out there any given Saturday, he's special, man. You watch Bryce Young, it's like Kyler Murray in ways where you're 2 steps away from him, and then he just spins around and throws a strike down the field to a wide open receiver. He's just very, very difficult to deal with. And you mix that in with Gibbs, who's one of the more electric runners in this country. They're very tough to deal with on offense. And 4, of course, my Tigers. I wish I could have them at 1, but we're gonna wait for that. We're gonna wait for it next week to do that.
He did lose to Florida State.
Yeah, he lost to Florida State. But look, I'm letting y'all know, just be very wary.
I made a little comment on Twitter that I really wanted another shot at Florida State. I got these Florida State people chirping at me. You would think they've had a reasonably decent football team over the last 10 years. Newsflash, they have not.
Yeah.
But they think a lot of themselves, apparently. We'll get another shot at them in Orlando, so we'll see how that goes.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see about that next year. But yeah, I got my Tigers right here at 4. Big time win over a ranked Ole Miss team, and I think with the momentum they've built over the past 2 weeks, that's something you can definitely build upon. And the quarterback play, the way he's played these last 2 weeks, you can definitely rival some of the other quarterbacks in this country. You want to talk about Stroud, you want to talk about Young, you want to talk about Hooker. The way JD5's been playing, he's right there in that conversation with those guys. So I got my Tigers at 4.
At 5, I've got Ole Miss. Look, against Auburn and LSU, they averaged, they allowed 553 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. That's 276 yards a game. Tulsa ran for 262 on them. They've got some issues with the way that they structured their defense with that 3-man front and just a couple linebackers right there behind them. I know they want speed on the field. I know they want DBs out there. I know they love their safeties, and that's all well and good. But if you just let somebody hand the ball off and run it all day, it's going to be a long day. And it'll be a long day for them if they let Devon Achane do that, because he's the only guy that functions in College Station. So they got issues there, but they got a good coach. They got a good running game. And their quarterback actually made some throws against LSU. He made some bad ones, but he did make some good ones. So I'll take them at 5. I've got Kentucky at 6. They're coming off a bye. Levis is really banged up. Toe injury, dislocated finger. He's going to need to be really good in Neyland, so they better figure something out there. But they're a solid football team. They're about as good as they can be, but I've got them at 6. At 7, I've got Mississippi State, but their offense has bogged down over the last couple of weeks. 225 total yards at Kentucky, and they didn't score in 59 minutes and 57 seconds on Alabama. So the defense was decent in both of those games. I still think Will Rogers is a really good quarterback. He runs that system pretty well, but if they're significantly out-athleted to that extent against Alabama. They can't really handle it, and didn't play well against Kentucky either. Some of the lesser teams they should beat up on because they're more solid than them, but they do certainly have their issues. And number 8, I don't feel great about this one, but I'm going to put them there and see what happens moving forward. I got Arkansas. Their defense stinks, but I like their quarterback, and I like their running back, and everybody else has some pretty big issues here. So I'll take Arkansas at 8, and I don't feel awesome about it, quite frankly.
Okay, so I don't know if we've been on the air a year and a half plus, like we're hanging out every day, see you on Saturdays. You're lock and key again, man. What's going on today? So
you got to do a better job of selling Arkansas than I did, because I just kind of just put them in there.
Yeah, we're lock and key again, man. I had Ole Miss at 5. Anytime you got 2 of the top 5 rushers in the SEC on one team, that's extremely impressive. They got Junkins and Evans, both top 5, and they're running the ball extremely well. And we kind of saw Lane on full display those first 2 drives. It was like a knife through butter with kind of how that offense was flowing, and they just couldn't sustain it for a whole game. But when they're ticking and they're rolling, they're going to run up to the ball, and they're going to get those plays off quick, and they're handed off to 2 really, really talented backs. A little worried about that rush defense, but I think anytime Lane's styling it up and they get it going, I think they can light you on fire in the run game on any given Saturday. So I got Ole Miss at 5. 6, I got Kentucky. Anytime you got a first-round quarterback on the team, I know they lost that game to South Carolina, which I don't think
that hurts.
Anyone could predict it, but you're missing Levis at the quarterback position. I thought that had a big thing to do with that. So they'll get an opportunity to kind of make a huge upset this Saturday. I don't know if I'm taking that or I'm betting on that, but I think it'll be a lot closer game than people probably think with them going into Neyland. 7, I got Mississippi State. That team is literally exactly how we predicted them to be. Just a team where, they're going to shock you on one Saturday, and then one Saturday they're just going to come out sleepy. Air raid's going to get shut down. They're not going to look like they're a remotely, talented football team and not have a pulse on any given Saturday. And then sometimes Rodgers may throw for 5 touchdowns and light you for 400 yards. And that's just kind of what you've seen from this Leach program. And they kind of picked up right where they left off and kind of sustained that play this season. And 8, I got Arkansas. Probably, to me, one of the more disappointing teams in the SEC when you kind of look at kind of, their rise last season and then kind of coming into this season and really not having, the season I thought they would have, and still in my cornerback from us. Like, you at least have to have a pulse if you're going to do that. You can't steal my boy Dwight and just go out there and just be losing games week in and week out. But, I got Arkansas at 8.
All right, number 9, I have the Florida Gators, and I have them there for this very reason. When they're good is better than everybody that's below them on this list. The 5 teams below them can't be as good as Florida when they're at their best. That's when their offensive line's healthy. Richardson's making good decisions. They can make some explosive plays through him, and they can play. I mean, they played with Tennessee in Neyland in a packed environment with Hooker out there. But then sometimes they're going to be atrocious, and they were bad against Missouri. They were bad against Kentucky, and they were awful for 3 quarters against LSU. So they're not better than this, but they're better than everybody behind them when they're at their best. South Carolina, number 10. They're ranked 25th in the country. That's because they've won 4 straight. And look at this gift for Shane Beamer. Their next 2 are Missouri and Vanderbilt. They're going to have won 6 in a row probably, unless they throw up all over themselves for those next 2. Now, their last 2 games, not as fun. You will play Tennessee and at Clemson in your last 2 games. But for right now, you've won 4 in a row, and you have the worst 2 teams in the league coming up. That's a nice thing for Shane Beamer's squad.
Okay, the Beamer, man. Look, oh, my goodness. Yeah, man, look, they're playing Beamer ball out there. What are you going to do about it? All right.
I got number 11, Auburn. They've lost 4 of 5, gave up 41 to Penn State, gave up 42 to Georgia, gave up 48 to Ole Miss. I don't love their quarterback play. I don't love their defense. However, I do believe they're playing hard. I think they played hard against Missouri and found a way to steal it. They played hard against LSU, and it got away from them. They got dusted by Georgia. Okay, that's fine. But they played hard in Oxford, and they all know their coach is getting fired. So for nothing else, you get the We're Playing Hard award at number 11. Number 12, I've got A&M. There's about nothing they do well except hand the ball to A-Chain. That's the only thing, and he's awesome. But their offensive line's no good. Their wide receiver core is decimated outside of a good freshman. They can't stop the run. And their coach is things are bad, but I still don't think it's as bad as Missouri or Vanderbilt. Missouri, you beat Vanderbilt by a little bit, so you're 13, and Vanderbilt, still been 3 years since you won a league game. So there you are.
I was getting a little worried. I was like, is it Halloween today? Because if we would have been lock and key for the last remainder, I would have been extremely worried about today. But it's a little shake up here. You know what I'm going to do with the Aggies, but we'll get to that later. So I have 9. I got South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's a team where, really, really worried about where that team was going, especially to start the season the first couple of weeks, and kind of a bad break. And when you start SEC playoff with Georgia, probably not going to go well for you, but they've kind of, had a little more pulse than I probably gave them credit for. Not with the play of Spencer Rattler, which you thought, you may possibly get a huge boost in, but he's really not had the season that I think the Gamecock fans are expecting. But it's Beamer ball, so, they got a little pulse there. Not much of one, though. 10, I put Florida at 10. That's a team that, especially to start the year, where you really thought maybe Napier kind of had this thing figured out a lot quicker than you want to give him credit for, especially when you beat Utah at home and, kind of start the season off the way they did. But I don't think that's a very talented football team, and I think they really that defense got exposed by this LSU offense, who was really struggling going into that football game. So I got Florida at 10. 11, I got the fist pumping baby Tiger Woods himself, my boy Eli Drinkwitz.
He was fired up after that win over Vandy.
Just pumping that fist away. I thought he was going to get a cramp in his biceps the way he was fist pumping so hard. But that Missouri team, that was just bad brand of football you watch. They say there are highlights. Those look like more like lowlights watching that.
Missouri's legal team should be penalized. There needs to be a clause in that contract that says if you pump your fist after you beat Vanderbilt by less than 1 score, you're fired for cause. No buyout, nothing. You're out the door. When we beat Vanderbilt by less than 1 score, we jog to midfield, shake the coach's hand, go in the locker room, and rip everybody a new one. That's how we beat Vanderbilt. And if you don't, then you're fired.
They were literally on the verge to lose in that game. I don't know what you were fist bumping about, but hey, I guess you're thirsty for a win. Got to take it what you can get. But, yeah, that's a bad Missouri team. 12, I got the Auburn Tigers. That's just, I think, what everyone kind of predicted going into this season. When you got coordinators leaving, you got the school coming down on the head coach. You think the coach may leave. You think he may not. And just they play on the field, just absolutely terrible. You're not even giving the ball to your best player in the quarterback position. That is just a whole different conversation to have. But, yeah, the Auburn Tigers, that's just a very, very bad football team, and there's no way I can have them anywhere higher than 12. And, of course, I wish I can go a little lower, but it just brings me so much joy, man. The Aggies, right back where they started.
13th.
Right down. I had them here right after the App State game, and I probably shouldn't have taken them from right here because their true colors have really shown, and we got the allegations coming out. We got punters hitting the portal. Like, who loses punters to the portal? Like, this is just a bad scene for College Station, and so – yeah, the Aggies right now.
Punter's going to be busy. I got news for you. That's a really good spot for you to learn to punt.
Dude, that's like the best job in the country. You're going to get so much TV time. You don't ever have to go on the sideline. You're literally going to be right back out there in 3 plays every time the offense touches the ball. It's the best gig in the country. Now you're losing that guy. Like the Aggies, it's just what can go wrong will go wrong with the Aggies. It just brings me so much joy to see. And I'm like, I have to get on Texags after the show. It's just a beautiful time to just rag on the Aggies. But yeah, they're down at 13 again. And 14, do I have to even talk about it?
Anchor down! We'll come back and close it out next, Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana every single day here on Hunt and Hill all month long, telling you about Fresh Junkie Racing.
Yeah, Fresh Junkie Racing is a group of racing enthusiasts that have taken their love of running and built a business providing citizens from across the state a way to get moving and stay moving. Created by athletes for athletes, Fresh Junkie Racing hosts world-class road racing events and triathlons right here in Louisiana, welcoming crowds from across the globe to experience this place we call home.
Fresh Junkie's goal, obviously, is to get people on track to a healthier lifestyle. That's goal number 1. And in doing so, they put together races, 18 of them every single year. A byproduct of that is that they're bolstering our economy, $5.2 million for the Louisiana Marathon alone. That's just one of the 18 events they do. Looking for one coming up, Turkey Trot in Baton Rouge and in Covington on Thanksgiving morning, 8 a.m., both spots in Baton Rouge, Convention Street, over in Covington on North Columbia. So you want to get the blood moving a little bit on Thanksgiving morning, check out the Turkey Trot. Fresh Junkie Racing will be out there. They are a champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah! Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart...
NFL is back. Our coverage starts Sunday at 10 a.m. with Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday with Jimmy Ott, immediately followed by the New York Jets and the New England Patriots at noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing up shop here on a Wednesday edition of Hunt and Hill. We always do it. Do it now. Take it or leave it. Jeremy, you played in the London game.
Okay.
Russell Wilson said he worked out during half of the Broncos' 8-hour flight to London. Said he was doing high knees in the aisle at 30,000 feet while his teammates were trying to sleep. Russ, calisthenics. Take it or leave it.
Oh, my goodness. See, I was trying to give Mr. Unlimited the benefit of the doubt all this offseason. I'm like, you know what? Give this guy a chance. Like, it can't be that bad. And then you see him doing a pirouette in the pregame on the middle of the field, just spinning in circles, basking in the sun, and he's saying Broncos country, let's ride. I think they probably got an extra, mile and a half on the speedometer, like not very far that they've gone this year. and then now he's just waking up everyone on the plane
High knees.
with his high knees. And I've been on that flight, and it stinks, and you want to get every ounce of sleep you can. If I see Mr. Unlimited just pounding the ground while I'm trying to sleep, I'm not going to be a happy camper. So I'm going to leave this for Mr. Unlimited, and he's better start winning some football games very, very soon here, because though that bullseye on his back is going to get extremely
This also
good.
like goes into the thing like you can't use your Wi-Fi on a plane. Like they're saying you got to turn on airplane mode. But Russell Wilson's doing high knees in the aisle. What's really a flight hazard here? I think Russell Wilson.
Oh, man. All right. According to Derek Gold of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, 41-year-old pitcher Adam Wainwright, he's set to return for the 2023 Major League Baseball season, had a record of 11-12 and an ERA of 3.71. Are you taking leaving Hunt Palmer sick and tired of seeing Adam Wainwright?
I'll take it. Guy's been flipping curveballs and striking Cubs out for 20 years, it seems like. It's disgusting, despicable. We got to get this guy as far away from baseball as we can. Him and Yachty, I'm done with it. All right, get out. It's over. You're done. Cardinal way. Retire. That's the Cardinal way. Pujols, get out. I'm done with all you people. All right, last one here. Klay Thompson received his first career ejection. He was got into a heated exchange with Devin Booker last night. Pointed to his 4 fingers, showing he's got 4 rings with Golden State. Ejections for trash talk. Take it or leave it.
I'm leaving this. You know how you and I feel about these refs. Like, let the guys trash talk. As long as you're not pushing anyone, punching anyone, like, it's good for the game, man. You're just letting guys talk a little trash. No one pop push. No one did anything crazy. Let the guys have some competitive fire and talk a little trash. NBA is just getting softer and softer, man. What are we going to do about it?
Pels played good last night. Didn't have their guys. Still got after it.
It's the worst time for me. They're going to take my pick and then have a great seed in the playoffs. It just makes my stomach hurt. Like, I'm just sick of it.
You got to really pull for your Lakers to get the worst draft pick possible. That's really your motivation.
No, I need the Jazz to realize how bad they need to stink and take Russell off our hands and start losing games. Look, that's the only way they're going to lose games. They're winning games right now. Got to take Russell. You want to lose, take Russell, and you'll get Victor Wembanyama. So, yeah, take Russell off our hands.
That's going to be the battle cry for NBA teams. If you're not plugged into the NBA, there's a dude. People are going to want him. Let's just say that. He's a freak. That'll do it for a Wednesday edition here of Hunt and Hill. If you missed it, catch it on demand, 1045 ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Open things up. Talking about LSU football, J.D. PicKell and Brock Kantrow were with us in the first hour. Jay Johnson, LSU head baseball coach, with us at the top of hour number 2. A lot of fun. Matt McMahon will be with us tomorrow. Very much looking forward to that. Jimmy Ott's game time tonight. It'll be the handyman from 6 to 8. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review from 3 to 6. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see y'all tomorrow. It's Hunt and Hill.